Summer.
For the last 4 years, a relentless television crew
29,350 from the one address.
has been following a team of Merseyside policemen.
My name's Sergeant Spencer from the Serious Crime Squad. You've been arrested on suspicion of murder, OK?
Murder?
Everywhere. These are not actors. They're the real cops. How thin can the blue line get? Mersey Blues starts 13th of January on BBC Two.
I've only been on the hormones 18 months. My nipples are like bullets.
You ready, Ken? Yeah. Right, we're all here behind you. You're right. Oh.
Can you show me where your points are? Have your own shower and WC.
Into which we don't pass solids.
He's looking for a boy.
After eh?
The League of Gentlemen starts Monday, 11th of January.
Welcome to New Year's Eve on BBC Two as we hand over the whole evening to Mr. Smooth.
Hi, I'm Mark Lamarr, and over the next 5.5 hours, I'll be tantalising you with some fascinating New Year's Eve tidbits. When did New Year's Eve become an annual event, and when did it replace Old Year's Day? Why do the natives of Madagascar fear the courgette? And more importantly, why don't girls like me? These, of course, are mysteries. But I will be telling you that in France they celebrate New Year on October the 9th. In Ecuador, they welcome in New Year by chasing a hen round a traffic cone. And those crazy, wacky, live-for-the-moment Libyans enjoy the festivities the traditional way by sticking a straw up a Labrador's behind and snorting out its giblets. These, of course, are lies. So what's on tonight? First of all, in just a couple of seconds, New Year Horrors, my guide to the perfect New Year's Eve. Then at 8:20, claymation craziness with Rex the Runt. At 8:30, set your videos for the making of Robot Wars. At 9:05, the unmissable Simpsons. And at 9:30, a Kick Up the Archive, a compilation from 80s comedy shows. At 10:15, Transvestite Tragedy in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And at 5 to midnight, Jules' 6th annual Hootenanny. And then the first show of 1999, The Best of Glastonbury, 1998. There you are, you see. Something for everyone and everything for someone. So stick around, set your watches and pass out the Brazil nuts as we count down to New Year on BBC Two. I'll reveal how Scotland bought the rights to New Year's Eve, why it's bad luck if a Viking enters your house, and why arson's illegal in so many countries. But first, I'm afraid, it's a bit more of me. I can't keep this stupid voice up much longer.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
A happy New Year!
New Year's Eve, the dawn of a new beginning. New challenges, new expectations, the blank canvas of a new diary. Tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life. In the next year, nations will fall, cultures will crumble, and Billy will get married. So how are you choosing to face this epic rebirthing?
I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to stay in bed, I think, with the whole family.
What I tend to do is I get my show reel out of some of my best links on Top of the Pops. And that way, the whole family and myself have a great time.
This year, I'm actually going to be with a girl. I'll be with her on New Year's Eve, so that'll be different.
I hate New Year's Eve with a passion. I hate New Year's Eve more than any other day in the year. In fact, I love every other day in the year. I'm a very optimistic, happy person, but New Year's Eve is one day that I loathe.
So why do we feel this way? It all starts when you get your first Christmas card, because your Christmas card says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It actually says Merry Christmas Merry Christmas! I think you get the point anyway. It says, here's your chocolate orange, now sod off. Because New Year's Eve, it's the afterthought to Christmas. It's like Posh Spice to the rest of the Spice Girls. We know she's involved somehow, but we're not exactly sure what she does. It's the ugly bridesmaid. It's the pineapple ring on the gammon steak. But remember, like garlic on a French man's breath, it's not going to go away.
Oh, do not waste your time, my friends, in being gay and jolly. Tonight's the night for sheer delight in being melancholy.
New Year's Eve is all about planned fun, planned spontaneity, and more to the point, enforced jollity. And it's bound never to live up to its expectations.
Everyone thinks that there is a more glamorous party with more glamorous people and more glamorous music happening somewhere else. But that's a lie.
Do you know what everyone else is doing? They're keeping busy over a Puzzler magazine, waiting for that phone call. I don't care who you are, Radio 1 DJs are trimming their nasal hair as I speak. The cast of Cats are crouching over gravel. No one's having a good time. At this very moment, David Bowie is on the sun-drenched island of Barbados, ironing an enormous pair of trousers with many pleats. He's keeping busy. Iman's bleeding the radiators and warming up the sausage rolls. They're both praying for the big bong of Ben.
Staying in and being depressed on your own is even more depressing.
There's nothing like being in a room full of people to make you feel really isolated.
Why does everybody want a new year anyway? Oh yeah, I'm getting older, gonna die soon. I don't understand. If it was going backwards, that could perhaps work.
It seems that deep down we don't really want to celebrate New Year. Think of the other important days. Stevie Wonder and the Beatles both wrote birthday songs. Christmas, Cliff Richard, Bing Crosby, Ann Mazzula, the Slits, they've all done them. Even the Flintstones had their great anniversary song. But how many New Year's Eve songs are there? U2 was so close with New Year's Day, but it's a day late. It's like having Happy Birthday and a day. Who cares? The sad fact is, there's only one New Year's Eve song, and it doesn't even mention New Year's Eve. It's a charlatan. It's a fake. It's a ringer. It's a wolf in tartan clothing. And by the way, there isn't an A or a U in old.
I certainly don't know the words to Old Lang Syne. I don't think anybody does. This is how you sing it. May all acquaintances be forgot,
never come to mind.
Oh, okey dokey, but it's not that.
And then the things will be really good.
For the sake of Old Lang Syne.
I mean, who is Old Lang Syne? I don't know. I don't know the history of these people. I'm not going to sing about a complete stranger. I'm sure people that don't know me don't sing about me.
It might be Free Scotland from the English for all we know, but we sing it.
So it's the only song to celebrate New Year, and nobody knows the words or what they mean. But that's enough. But perhaps most shocking of all for an event which supposedly marks the most important moment of the year is that no one seems to know which bong is the big bong.
It's the first bong.
I don't think it is the chime. I mean, well, it would have to be the last one, wouldn't it?
Doing, 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 up to 12.
Chimes, bongs, into New Year. Isn't it a countdown to midnight, or is it midnight, countdown round the other way? I don't know.
The ritual of New Year means nothing in Christianity. To a Christian, it has no significance. Your pagan can't get enough of it, loves it. Oh, give me more New Year. But your Christian will muscle in on anything if he can fill up that collection plate.
We ask you to go with us into the new year, and we ask it as followers of Jesus Christ our Lord.
You've got Christ's birth, Christ's death and Sundays, now leave it, you're pushing your luck. You're a big religion, but you're out of shape. Other cultures not only have their own New Year, but they want some of ours as well. If I see one Chinese bloke out tonight, I'll be fuming. If he's celebrating, obviously if he's just out, that's up to him. New Year's Eve's British, always has been, always will be. The Jewish religion were always assured of the promised land, but I don't think they were ever promised New Year's Eve.
Jewish New Year is all about God writing what's going to happen to you that next year. Your career's going to go down the pan, you're not going to have any relationships, you're going to have no friends, and then you've got 10 days to make it better. 10 days to be nice to everyone, to repent, to show what a good bloke you are, and then maybe on the 10th day God sort of goes, yeah, all right then, all right. You can have a fairly good... You have one friend, and you can have a snog from that woman Mary in July, and that's it.
You sit in the synagogue, slowly slipping into an irreversible coma, while everybody else on the 31st of December is like jumping for joy and celebrating. You see, we Jews aren't allowed to have a lot of happiness in our lives because it would interfere with our suffering.
Putting religion aside for a moment, more than a moment, for good, the one thing we're sure of as far as New Year goes is that like the song Speed Bonnie Boat, like the invention of copper wire, like the 70s rock band Nazareth, it belongs to the Scots.
A good new year to you and yours. This wee bit toast I offer. May you have health and happiness and a ton of coal in your coffer.
Tradition says it's very important the first person to cross your threshold is the right person, because that will tell how prosperous your house is going to be for the rest of the year, which is why a tall, dark stranger is supposedly a very good thing. And part of that is because if it was a blonde stranger in Scotland, the likelihood would be it would be a Viking, and that wouldn't be very good for your house at all, apparently, because he would burn it.
All right, I consider bad luck for a fair-haired person to be the first over your doorstep. But believe me, if Ainsley Harrier ever comes into my house at any time of the year, that to me is a bad omen for the rest of my life. Take precautions.
You've got to get out first on first footing, because you can then choose, I want to go to these nice people who have top cakes. See, if you don't drink, it's like, who's got the top cakes? Out to the top cakes, and before the people from 3 doors down who just go on and on about their tobogganing holiday come in and just bore you to death.
Is the party in here?
Come in.
Oh, lovely. Get the take. Oh, well.
If the person came to my door to do this first footing ritual, if they had a foreign accent, you know, foreign to American, I would go, oh, you must be new in America. We don't talk to each other here. Come on in, brother. You know, I'd probably invite him in, because obviously he doesn't know. And I'd brief him. Look, you want to get a 9mm handgun shoved in your gob? Keep going door to door in this neighborhood. I'm the nice guy, and look at me.
If you're the sort of person who's been invited out tonight, chances are you've been invited to more than one party. Now, you can, of course, pop from location to location, but that nearly always means that on the stroke of midnight, you'll be repairing a puncture on a moped or snogging a bus conductor. My advice to you is whittle down those invites. If you've got a friend who runs a motel and dresses up as his mum, he might be best left alone tonight.
You can chase the party forever. I did that in New York one year, and I seemed to sit in the taxi for the majority of the evening.
I don't drink, so all that kind of merriment is really lost upon me. It smells bad, and people are, they really act like idiots.
Whatever party you find yourself at, always bear in mind your midnight tactics. For if midnight means one thing, it's slipping the tongue to a stranger. Come the witching hour, ask not for whom the ben bongs, for it bongs for thee. So stand near the least ugly person in the room. However, I don't care if you're parting at Hugh Hefner's mansion, chances are when Ben starts his bonging, you'll still end up tonsil deep with a hunchback bearded woman with a goiter.
I never got it right. I always did, you know, the terrible thing when you just, the bong goes and you turn around and there is the dragon. So, and just, you know, coming at you, mouth open, and you go,
Who are you? Stop licking my face, you smell of urine. That kind of thing.
I don't like to touch people. Not even during the year.
Well, I've been snogged personally by some, whoa, on New Year's Eve, because you're up on the decks with a microphone and you can see them coming. The most beautiful one is way back and you're going, hi, come over here, come over here.
I have scant regard for the midnight moment. Every day's New Year's Day to me. You know, every day's Christmas Eve. The witching hour and all that, I can't get excited about. It's just, it's the passing of time.
You will by this point be drunk, and please, I beg you, remember, the only thing more boring than a drunk is an I was so drunk that story. I know how drunk you were drunk enough to bore my tits off. Being drunk at a party isn't clever, anyone can get drunk on special occasions, but being drunk all year, oh, that's special.
It brings out the amateur drinker in everybody, which is not a good thing.
Notice that the way most people celebrate the New Year is to erase their memory. They want to get drunk. They want to forget.
And if I am not sad enough, there's whiskey and there's beer that I can drown my sorrows in and have a happy New Year.
People find themselves drinking very strange, noxious liquids on New Year's Eve, because they peak too early, they start at 9, they've drunk everything they've bought by about 11:15. And it's like, oh no, we've still got 45 minutes to go, what should we do? The blue stuff at the back of the cupboard. Get it out. Yeah, take the crust off the top there. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not pacing yourself. You run out of the good stuff. That's get you tiddly. That gets you a bit sort of confident. I know, I can take on the blue bottle.
I try and stay in because there's a lot of alcoholics on the road and a lot of people doing something they regret the next day, and I don't want to be in the way of their great blunder. I don't want to be compromised by a drunken idiot, you know, because it's illegal to kill these people, and that's the thing that, you know, you should be able to pound the brains out of their head, like, you know, club them like baby seals, but you're not allowed to. You go to jail when a drunk gets in your face and you kill him.
We're very, very reserved in this country, and unfortunately, when we do all get together and let rip, nobody knows what they're doing. There's no leaders. There's no, right, now we're all drunk, let's go up onto the roof. You know, it's like, now we're all drunk, let's just sort of wander into the road, and, you know, it's just all sad.
There are, however, large groups of people every New Year who go out without having been invited to any parties at all. These are a strange, aimless bunch who wander around city streets until midnight, when they generally congregate in large town squares to swig white cider from plastic bottles, look very cold, sing some of the lyrics to the chorus of Come On Eileen, and ultimately try and get off with anything available.
We used to always go to Trafalgar Square, which in itself is a bad idea because there's no clock. What's the point of everyone meeting in the only place in London where there's no clock? I mean, there used to be the fountains, but where you could fall in. So at least there's some. Oh, I got wet. But then they closed that off. Nothing.
You have a drink, and you think, I know, it's really cold, isn't it? What do I really need to do now? Get in that fountain. Of course. Why didn't I think of that before? With a load of other people I've never met before. From Loughborough or somewhere.
So, while some choose to jump around in fountains or find the nearest knothole, the rest of the population are having a quiet night in. And having a quiet night in generally means you haven't been invited anywhere. And let's face it, that pretty much means you. You know who you are. You're you. You're watching me now. You've sunk as low as mankind can go. You're watching New Year TV. The history of New Year TV is quite an interesting one. It started in the 50s when there was a move afoot to promote a bit of post-war European harmony. In order to do this, the powers that be at Broadcasting House decided that nothing would endear us more to our neighbours across the sea than showing us exactly what Johnny Foreigner got up to by way of New Year celebrations. Despite these good intentions, however, it came as a little bit of a surprise to discover that the Swiss had a custom of letting small children break the furniture while looking on benignly and smoking big pipes. The Austrians encouraged junior gatherings of the KKK, presided over by cardboard-faced Santas, but perhaps most sensational of all was the revelation that posh Belgian couples finished off their traditional end-of-year meal by lighting a candle and cooking up smack. By the swinging 60s, England was off its head on Purple Hearts and Black Bombers, and the whole country was too busy fighting rockers and dancing to the sounds of Unit 4+2 to bother in New Year, and that is fact. I've seen the films. However, north of the border, Scottish television cooked up a scheme to flog us some old rope. Hogmanay was born. Hogmanay actually means Manay hogs. You see, when you know the facts, quite touching.
Hello, and a warm welcome to the Hogmanay party. Come away in and meet my friend.
And everyone would be there, you know, ironed within an inch of their lives.
I'm not a violent person, but bagpipes make me quite violent. Bagpipes, and what's the other thing I hate? Kilts. You know, men going round in kilts, for God's sake, grow up. You know, be men.
I have wondered. The most famous exponent of this brand of biscuit tin whimsy was the late, but never on New Year's Eve, Andy Donald Where's Your Trousers Stewart. For too many years, Andy Stewart baffled us with his tartan-wearing, Highland-flinging, heather-bothering, cock-a-leaking, incomprehensible Jacobite McNonsense. many people, Andy Stewart on TV meant New Year, which is where the custom for going out began. But it wasn't just Andy. Oh, my dear Lord, no. If you were Scottish, had a crumb-filled beard and a spoon full of good cheer, you were on.
All right. You get back the heat on the top. Oh, well.
By the 80s, however, the BBC decided that everything had got a bit too Scottish and decided to wrestle back New Year for the rest of the world. Only one man could pull this off. A man with gusto, bravado and passion. A man that lived in a world marked danger and a turtleneck marked final reductions. A talisman of the true English spirit. A man known only as JC. A man feared by his enemies, loved by his woman, yet strangely ignored by the viewing public. A man called Craven.
Well, 1982 has been, amongst other things, maritime year. And I'll be talking to the trans-globe explorer Sir Ranulph Fiennes on board Captain Scott's famous ship, Discovery.
The final nail in the coffin of past Scottish New Year glories came in 1984. An accord was reached. Unity, brotherhood and love was shared by two nations. The Scots gave us whiskey, tartans, pipers, flings and Gleneagles for the festivities. And as a gesture, and it was just a gesture, mind, we gave them Tom O'Connor.
I had everything against being included in the elements with our Live into 85 Hogmanay show from Gleneagles. I was outside and welcomed everybody. I said, inside you can hear the music, and I had this wonderful line.
Actually, out here it's quite cold. It's cold enough to freeze the bagpipes to your ribcage, but inside...
And we cut to Moira singing, whatever it was, and I went in and I had a couple of gags, and they both worked. It was really good.
We've got a lovely audience here, and they're getting wired into the local grog here, which is very strong, apparently. It's actually guaranteed to make you see double and feel single.
And that got us to about 3.5 minutes into the show, and then an actor tried to recite a poem and forgot it about 3 times.
As New Year's Eve approaches, I grow sadder every day. It makes me mad that I get sad, for I know I should be gay. I know I should be gay. Oh, dear, my way. I'll start again. As New Year's Eve approaches, I grow sadder every day. It makes me mad that I get sad, for I know I should be gay. Yes? It makes me mad that I get sad, for I know I should be gay. Next line.
People kept saying to me, run to camera 3 quickly and be funny immediately. And you'd run over and think, well, what can I say now? And I think all my lines started with, I've just come from the bar, I've met this fella.
I've been out to the bar, they've got marvellous, almost like at your house, but it's all happening at the bar. We've got a fella there, got a budgie on a lead. I said, what are you doing? He said, I wasn't going to come, but it dragged me out.
The whole thing was like, get a load of acts together, get some people in, stick some drinks in them, and the show will just develop and we'll just film it. And it was nothing like that at all. As I recall, a pipe band marched in, and instead of marching up and down and going out, they just stopped there. So poor old Chip Murray, God rest him, he came in and had nowhere to go because there were people standing on his mark.
Oh, utter chaos. Yes, I'm over there. I'm in the tall grass. I didn't see you there. Yes. I've got to give this away first. There's no cameras on me.
There's a limit to what you can carry on doing, particularly as an English person on a Scottish show. And it was a complete shambles. It was so bad, in fact, that they took it off the air after 40 minutes. And then I thought, they're going to blame me here. I am the common bond here with a disaster and Hogmanay. So I thought, well, I'm the sacrificial lamb here. I'm going to go down with this show. And I did.
Well, there's the first footing from Chip Murray.
In retrospect, I'm quite proud, really, because I can't think of a worse show I've ever seen. So you might as well hang your hat on something, and if it's got to be the worst show at Hogmanay, I'll settle with it. I'll tell you what's for sure, it's made my day. They'll never ask me again.
After the O'Connor incident, New Year programming went back to basics. New Year, love your fellow man, regardless of his race, colour or creed. For we are all human, forgive and forget. Let's cement those ties with Europe and let the past rest. Over to you, Ambassador Barrymore.
Begeben und befreien an island here. Me lost an island diary, was is los in here? Me have ein Spitfire losen in the sky. Biegen Abend, ja, so packen die Biegen geil. Sieg Heil, Germany.
With this act, you are spoiling us.
Michael Barrymore there with one of the oldest New Year traditions, inciting pensioners to recreate the Nuremberg rallies. We've all done it once in a while. But as far as television goes, the most perverse New Year tradition is performed in Germany and various other European countries, when every single year our European brothers sit down to watch Dinner for One, a comedy short performed by long-forgotten English cabaret act Freddie Frinton. However, I must warn you, like Liam Gallagher on Cathay Pacific, it doesn't travel well. New Year's resolution, never be in front of a television in Germany on New Year's Eve. I have pretty much the same resolutions every year. Try and meet that fat girl from Emmerdale Farm, buy some cheap penicillin, and the obvious murder the Commodores.
Helena, what New Year's resolution?
Well, actually, I'm going to give up men seriously because they're giving me too much trouble.
Well, there is one really, which is to make much better use of our leisure time, the family leisure time.
Firstly, I'm going to be auditioning for the Spice Girls. They're looking for an extra one. I've decided that the rabbit doesn't really suit me.
Resolutions? Do I look like the girl who makes resolutions?
I've resolved to grow a bit, not spiritually, I mean quite literally. I'm now about 5 foot, so I've found these hormone pills about the size of a horse. I'll be taking one of those a day, hoping that it'll have some impact on my life.
It's the wrong time to give up anything.
That should be the one time that you're allowed to say to people, right, I'm divorcing you. Because then you really follow through, and there's a big life change. But not like, oh, I'm going to give up eggs.
There's a very simple reason why most New Year's resolutions involve taking better care of ourselves and smartening up our lifestyle. The reason is we don't actually make resolutions till 3 o'clock in the morning, when we're flecked with our own drambuie stinking vomit with half a pasty in our pocket and not a friend in the world. At times like these, as my good friend Yaz once said, the only way is up.
It's rather ironic that Christmas time and New Year's Eve is all about togetherness and presence and bonding, while the reality is, if you're a psychologist or a relationship counselor, is that that's the time of year right after New Year's Eve that people want to divorce.
I'd split up with my girlfriend and I'd had to leave the party where all my friends were because my ex-girlfriend was there. For some reason I had a bottle of gin with me and I was walking up the thing thinking I split up with my girlfriend, it's New Year. The bells I think had rung halfway up the hill, so I was nowhere around for Hogmanay. I was walking up thinking things cannot get any worse. And this is true, at the moment I thought that, I then slipped and broke the bottle of gin. So I now had no carry-out to get into the party, no girlfriend and no friends. And at that point I thought, Hogmanay, no.
Some people hate New Year so much they leave the country. Armed robbers, for example, Richard Branson and his balloon team, Tom O'Connell's audience. But as my good friend Yaz once said, there are worse things than Hogmanay, although that one didn't even get in the top 40.
The most sensible thing to do is to just go to sleep, for goodness sake. I mean, preferably, I'd like to be put to sleep on December the 1st and woken up on January the 2nd.
A lot of people would like you to be put to sleep on December the 1st or any day.
I did spend one New Year's Eve decorating a house. That was quite good. There was a feeling of moving into a new year, changing. Just bought a house, do it up. I was wallpapering as the I could hear people throwing up outside or just against the window, and that was quite nice.
Go abroad or go to sleep. Don't go out. Whatever you do, don't leave the house.
The one way to avoid New Year's is to have children, and then you can stay in. And the 3-year-old might well make it till midnight, so she made it last night, in fact, and she made it last year, and I ended up singing Auld Lang Syne with my partner, who fortunately is another adult, and my 3-year-old and a Tinky Winky doll in the other hand, thinking, this is what I've become.
However, if you're down in the dumps, take heart. Forget your troubles. Come on, be happy. There's always someone worse off than you. Spare a thought for Richard Madeley. If it wasn't bad enough that he's actually been Richard Madeley for the last year, he's also, at this very moment, sat on a lopsided sofa, gazing into the lifeless eyes of Judy Finnegan.
So how did you spend the last 3 New Years?
We were up at 6,000 feet above sea level in the dark for 8 months. And New Year, 5 degrees either way as we had our New Year celebrations. Temperatures down to minus 133 degrees Fahrenheit wind chill factor. Saw somebody falling down a crevasse with his rope not fixed on properly. I myself fell into the water in the Arctic Ocean in the winter. Yeah, it's pleasant.
Dear Frosty Face, we are very sorry, but as the booking agent for your winter break, we can accept no responsibility for missing toes and numerous near-death experiences. Next time we advise booking through an ABTA-endorsed travel agent. Glaciers pictured in the brochure are, of course, liable to changes without prior notice. Believe me, there are far worse ways of seeing the new year in. All my love, Mark.
Well, not everybody can be at a party tonight. Not everybody can be watching it television at home. There are some people who have to be on duty.
We're often mistaken for strippers, certainly at New Year's Eve office parties. In particular, the first fireman through the door, all the women start cheering, and they're very disappointed when we don't take our clothes off, but it depends on the size of the fireman.
People will risk getting run over, getting knocked down to get a cab. You know, that's how it is on New Year's Eve.
We drink strong tea most of the night, and at 12 o'clock we all shake hands, phone the families, wish them all the best for the new year, and that pretty well sums up the evening.
Well, obviously the worst experience is if someone's sick in your cab. You know, I mean, you can't pick someone else up afterwards.
In prison on New Year's Eve, it's exactly the same as it is at any other time of the year. They get up in the morning, they mull about on the wings, and they go to bed about 9 o'clock. The good aspect for the prisoners has got to be the fact that it's the start of a new year. It means a year off the sentence and a year less in prison.
All right, staying in at Her Majesty's Pleasure is a little bit extreme, but think ahead, because next year will be the mother of all staying-ins.
The millennium. The millennium. Try saying that after you've had a few pints. Hey, it's millennium.
The one thing I'm going to make sure on the millennium is that I'm going to celebrate it in my own house, because I'm not going to be the one that's going to be the open season for burglars that are wandering around. Because imagine everyone else will be out, especially in London. They'll probably all be trying to get to the Dome. They'll be stuck in the Jubilee line somewhere.
I've met people already who are planning it. They should be taken outside and shot. Have you met those people? Got a yacht. You know, there's a space on it if you want, yeah. See ya, 1999, okay. Just got the Prince CD.
The millennium's like, obviously, the New Year pressure 1,000 times. So that should be a laugh.
Talk about feeling lonely, too. 0, 0, 0 on your piece of paper. Like, what year is it? It's 2. Oh, God, it's so cold out. You know, it's just going to be kind of desolate in a way.
The last day of every month, we should pretend it's the millennium. So we've got 12 stabs at it. So by the time we get to December, we're really good at it. Everyone's very fluid. Yeah, I know where that is. I'm not going to touch the blue stuff, and I've got plenty of booze, and I know exactly where I'm going to be.
Next year, not only will you be one step nearer that bright shining light, the loneliness and sorrow will be that bit more heartbreaking, but to top it off, the pineapple ring on the gammon stake, the ugly bridesmaid, you won't be able to move without hearing this. Or this. Or this. But perhaps more worrying than any of that is the thought that if they do a live Millennium show from the Dome, who's going to present it?
Well, the chances of my getting a live Hogmanay show or a live New Year show again, after people watching this programme or the previous one, are millions to one. If the right offer came and the right preparation was there, I'd think about it before I said no.
So there you go, things have already begun to look up. And what have we learned about New Year in the last half hour? Well, on no account should you spend it in Henry Rollins' back garden. David Bowie wears pleated trousers while in the tropics, and Labrador giblets make a tasty nasal treat. So not much.
BBC Two is singing the New Year with Mark Lamarr, and he will be back in just a few moments from now.
Hello, Fast Track, can I help you? Do you have an extension number for her, please? Well, no, then I can't.
Kathy Burke.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And James Dreyfus in Gimme 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 starts 8th of January on BBC Two.
Paul Barron is the 38-year-old owner of Barron's, Hull's premier nightclub.
Tonight is erotic night, and I've changed various bits of the decor to give them an erotic ambience.
1, 2, 3, Barron's nightclub is the place to be, all right?
Someone take knickers onto the bottom of the church.
Good evening, I am Kinky John. Welcome to Erotic Night.
A banging new series. I've created some Barron's cocktails. Simply the breast. Vodka with a chicken breast on the edge.
It's Reeves and Mortimer, New Year's Day at 10:15 on BBC Two.
Behind the scenes of one of TV's most original shows, The Birth of Robot Wars is in 10 minutes here on BBC Two, after more from Mark Lamarr.
New Year's Eve wouldn't be New Year's Eve without some claymation. I'll give you a quick history of claymation. Claymation was invented a good while back by some bloke who loved both clay and amusing figures, probably. God, of course, fashioned Eve from 100 pounds of clay and one of Adam's ribs. Sadly, we haven't got any film of that, but I bet she got into some hilarious hijinks. What we have got is Rex the Runt. Not rhyming slang, he's a runt.
Well, Rex, he's got him again.
Well, that's it. I'm stopping his pocket money.
New Year's resolutions, it's a laugh, isn't it?
I pledge with every breath in my body. This is really amazingly hot!
Bunch of weirdos.
Women feel comfortable in my presence.
Got any more of that Chardonnay?
Did you see that? Did you?
New Year's Day comedy from 9 on BBC Two.
For the last 4 years, a relentless television crew
29,350 from the one address.
has been following a team of Merseyside policemen.
My name's Sergeant Spencer from the Serious Crime Squad. You've been arrested on suspicion of murder, OK?
Murder? Everywhere. These are not actors. They're the real cops. How thin can the blue line get? Mersey Blues starts 13th of January on BBC Two.
The naked truth about this year's Eurovision. Richard Fairbrass goes backstage to reveal all on BBC One now. Here on BBC Two, Bart's under pressure in half an hour when we hook up with The Simpsons. Before that, we're back with Mark Lamarr.
New Year's Eve wouldn't be New Year's Eve without a gripping behind-the-scenes documentary. People, of course, are fascinated with how TV programmes are made. The deadlines, the frustration, the passion of making television. A team of people pulling together in the pursuit of excellence. But look, would you put that Puzzler magazine down? Edit this bit out. Over the years, we've seen behind-the-scenes documentaries on the making of blockbusters like Star Wars, Titanic, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Tonight, I'm less excited, quite considerably less than excited, to give you the making of Robot Wars. If there's not something decent on later when I'm walking.
Welcome to London's Docklands, the home of Robot Wars. This is where all the metallic mayhem takes place. Now, if you're like me and you've...
Building robots is dangerous and shouldn't be attempted without great care. To receive our safety guidelines, you must first join the Robot Wars Club. Send a £10 cheque or postal order to Robot Wars London, W1A3AR. Members will also receive a badge, video and club magazine. If you build a qualifying robot, your money will be refunded. For more information, call our hotline.
I've only been on the hormones 18 months. My nipples are like bullets.
You ready, Ken?
Yeah.
We're all here behind you.
Right. Oh.
Can you show me where your points are?
You have your own shower and WC.
Into which we don't pass solids.
He's looking for a boy.
After it.
The League of Gentlemen starts Monday, 11th of January.
You think I'm glued to that stupid little box, do you? You think I can't survive a week on this planet without my weekly fix of NHS drama, huh?
You really don't know me at all, do you, Linda Hughes?
I'll type it for you, shall I?
Yes, please.
Gimme, gimme, gimme. Starts 8th of January on BBC Two.
Comedy from Rick Mail, Robbie Coltrane, Gregor Fisher and many, many more. A kick up the archive is in just over 20 minutes here on BBC Two.
I see you're still in. How you feel. But at least you begin the new year with the knowledge of how they make Robot Wars. And hopefully we'll soon be seeing a documentary on why they make Robot Wars. But what you do is you take your robot and then you smash it up. Could have saved everyone a lot of bother with that programme. The past year, of course, has seen television dominated by the docu-soap. fly-on-the-wall documentaries about everyday people and their mind-numbing lives. Already in production for next year is Cobblers, behind the scenes at a kiosk, which includes the catchphrase we'll all be using, "You'll need them healed" as well. And the very exciting Night Watchman, filmed in real time and scheduled to run overnight in bite-sized 8-hour chunks on BBC Two. At the weekends, I promise you, the nation will be gripped by such startling scenes as Jimmy checking if that door actually is locked, and the revelatory episode of Bill's missing sandwich box. Will he stay? Will he nip out to his car and get a pasty? My lips are sealed. Now in front of the scenes at The Simpsons.